Hello, this is a Knight K10 upright piano made in 1978 and just come into stock. Now we have pitch raised and tuned it already, and just going to look at what other work might need doing on it. I want to use the opportunity to contrast it, compare it with other Knights that we have in stock as well, and other small pianos. This is not a small Knight actually, this is a much taller one and made much later. This actually belongs to a client and they've asked us to store it free. It's an arrangement we have with many clients, and so it's only a rental piano. That lasts for 5 years, that system, and then afterwards they have to make a decision. Either we can store it for them or we purchase it from them, or they can have the piano back, of course. This is another client rental piano. Has a very long music stand, as you can see. It goes at the whole length of the piano. I'll just fold it down so you can see it. There we are. They're very useful, that. This is also a rental piano, same system, but this is what we call a genuine Knight. And what we mean by that, or rather the kind of Knight we're trying to source, you can identify those because at the back you'll see that the back caster here juts out, and therefore it needs this extra piece of wood, so it stands slightly away from the wall. It's important to know that if you buy one of these Knights. So wonderful the pianos are, and Alfred Knight stopped at nothing to make the best possible piano. So everything's just extremely well made. Now that one dated 1970 and this is 1959, exactly the same model. And again, one of the best Knights. This is a wonderful tone. This is actually a client's Knight that we're working on for them. We've moved it via our workshop, and it needs treatment for moth, which we've already done. And the video of this was made yesterday. On that video I have a brochure. Put a brochure of other Knight pianos, all the Knight pianos available in 1966. I'll try to put a link to that at the bottom so you can have a look at that brochure. So this is a equally good piano and does need a reasonable amount of work on it. Now this is the taller Knight, which Knight dated 1990 and doesn't have the telltale castors jutting out at the back. See, that caster's right on the back but not jutting out. So this is a younger Knight and quite a different piano. Now here's one of the major construction differences. This is the younger Knight, the 1990, and this is normal, where there's a gap here on the tuning pins, you see, where the brace is here. And now the older Knight, the original Knights, don't have that. So now if we take a look at this other Knight, the tuning pins are continuous here, you see, and there's no brace here. Why is that important? Let's look at the Knight catalogue. So on the Knight brochure here it said Knight designers have dispensed with the bar brace in the treble section, and in so doing have eliminated the bad notes which normally occur on either side of the treble brake bar. Let's see if we can hear that at all. By the way, this brochure is featured in the other video, which I'll link to for you. So let's hear those notes round the brake bar. It's quite a harsh sound. Now here's the original Knight. Same notes. And much more evenness of tone. This does need a little bit of voicing, this piano. It's been played a bit. As you can see by the hammers, there's some indentation on them. Not a lot, but it's caused them to vary a bit. And now it's an ideal time to voice accurately. They've been played in nicely, and now with voicing it'd be wonderful. So let's have another listen. You hear the harsh sound there. Now that's on all modern uprights. Obviously a well-made modern upright doesn't have too harsh a sound. And back to the one which is dispensed with the brace bar. Much more consistent. Now this is a Wellmar, our other main preferred make of small modern piano, and they've managed to get a wonderful even tone there. So there are makes of piano that have managed to achieve that without getting rid of the bass bar. So lastly, back to this one without the brace again. So it's not, the Wellmar's managed to achieve that without having to get rid of the bar brace. Now there are many other aspects to the Knight that make it an exceptional instrument. And this plaque's often on, I'm sorry, part of this plaque's missing, but I haven't got one with the whole plaque, but this is one of the things they put on. This instrument has been specially constructed to withstand severe extremes, I think, of heat, dryness, humidity and central heating in any parts of the world. And it's totally true. And I can remember in my very early tuning days, a night that I used to tune regularly every 6 months. The key was left underneath the flower pot outside the house. I went in the house and there was literally probably a couple of very light, small unisons out every 6 months, but she insisted on having the piano tuned every 6 months. So I used to try and do bits of regulation, bits of voicing, but there wasn't really anything to do. But a check was left for me on the piano as well, about 1980, just 80 odd. So that was obviously a pleasant experience. The cat seemed to enjoy me coming. Finally, let's look at some of the break point here and see how they managed to get the tone evened out. That's very good. Not perfect, but for a small piano, it's tremendously good. I've talked about that on many other videos too. And a nice rich bass. And the Welmar has a mellower sounding piano. Mind you, the Night is bright because it needs voicing as well. And the 1990 Night, the more modern one. Again, much more variety. Hear the difference. Mind you, it's still a very, very good piano actually, because it's got a lot of the Night characteristics, and certainly I would say it would be a better purchase than an inexpensive Far Eastern piano. The action it's going to be a lot more stable than say a new Far Eastern piano that's not expensive, and does have a very full tone, so it's a good piano. And finally, the more modern Night has 3 pedals, so Celeste rail here, so you can, obviously it's a soft playing. If you want a Celeste rail, just put it down so you can see what it does, so you quietens the piano down for practicing. But we can fit that onto the other one too. So on this Night that we're featuring, it can have practice pedal fitted, or it's not a pedal, it's a lever that goes down to the edge of I'll show you what I mean, sorry. We have one that's been fitted on this Welmar, so you see on the side here, if you activate that, then as you push that down, that activates the Celeste. So that can be fitted to the majority of upright pianos. So that's a look at this Night that's just come into stock, 1970 K10, and one of the pianos we're really trying to source. They're just extremely well made, very, very stable pianos, and also very long lasting. They don't seem to wear hugely like a lot of other pianos. Obviously it's a small piano, but for a small piano, it's a surprisingly strong bass. This one needs voicing a bit at the moment. Some notes are more harsh than others, but a rich, warm sound everywhere you go. Now I want to contrast it with a younger Night piano and just make a few comments. Before we go to the taller piano, by the way, there's still some younger Nights. Night York particularly is like the other one we said, has the bar brace that they talk about, and generally the manufacturer's standard isn't as high as this. It's not as stable as well. So these are the really immensely stable ones. Stay in tune for so long, really. So this is the younger Night, made in 1990, and very different really, very different tone. Like a lot of modern pianos, but still very well made, being a Night. And has a pleasant sound. It's not got this sort of extra special quality that the original Nights have. It's like most other pianos of this sort of age, really. Perhaps I'm being a bit unfair to it. By the way, the names come off here and somebody stuck some letters on. If you looked closely, you can see the shadow of the original name here, and that's quite common for this age of night, names to come off. But that doesn't mean to say they're badly made pianos. They're still very stable, and I think if you're a tuner, you probably agree with me that you'd rather your clients have one of these than a very cheaply made new piano. So I hope that's been helpful, just to look at these two pianos and have a think about which pianos you might buy. Welmar being the other sort of major make that we buy, but we also have other makes that we try and source, so less of them. Fatsa being one of them, for instance, and that's not quite such a high quality piano, but much less expensive. Thank you very much for listening.